All right, guys, welcome in. This is episode 2 of John and Johnny. We're a very small community.
Going on.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some bold predictions for Dynasty. Some guys that we're going to be talking about today. Again, these are just some hot takes. This is and something we truly believe in. These are some things that are going to be out there, but this is fun. We're going to get out there and make some bold predictions. So, Johnny, you want to start us off?
Very spicy takes. We wanted to make these extra spicy, but not unrealistic, plausible, backed by maybe even a little data and some feelings and some experiences. So I'll start with one I'm a little bit passionate about, and that's Anthony Richardson. As a Florida fan, I tried to root for the AR-15 and wish that it was fully loaded. But my first bold take is that AR will finish outside of the top 20 in total fantasy points for QBs in 2023. Not fantasy points per game, total fantasy points. And I think that is my main concern is him missing games and not being on the field. I could see him getting injured. He plays a very physical running style, very dependent on his legs. And he dealt with soft tissue injuries when he was at University of Florida. And, if he struggles, I could even see him getting benched for a guy like Gardner Minshew who's came in and played well. And so if he only plays 10 games and he's not playing every game out there, I could see him finishing outside of the top 20 quarterbacks. And when he went to UF and I watched him when he was a sophomore, he really struggled to throw the football and could not beat out Emory Jones as their quarterback, who was just brutally bad to watch. And, whether that was a combination of injury or talent, I think it was a combination of both. He was not on the field enough and did not beat out Emory Jones as a sophomore. And, I think people always have fawned over him because he's, this big physical. But I think it's only going to get harder in the NFL, and he won't be the biggest guy on the field anymore or the fastest. And I like the guy. I love his upside, but I wouldn't be overly dependent on him. And I wouldn't be surprised if this take ends up being true, just based on him being a rookie and potentially struggling in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, you make some good points here. Obviously, Anthony Richardson definitely relies on his legs. In the NFL, that might be a no-no. Only time will tell. I mean, you're really saying that potentially he might get hurt and that might lead him out of the top 20. That's your major concerns here?
Yeah, the injury and also again like the struggling out there. I don't think they're gonna watch him if he does get some sort of small injury that he could maybe play through. If he's not playing good football, then they might just bench him.
I mean,
It sounds
Minshew's good.
crazy, but yeah, crazier things have happened. And again, he missed too much time when I was watching him as a Gator for me to feel confident that you shouldn't have a contingency plan and that you should be expecting him to play all 16 or all 17 games. So
Okay, all right. I like it. I mean, it's definitely spicy. You sure you don't want to make
spicy.
you want to make it top 15? You want to stick with 20?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Let that be on the record. John asked me if I wanted to bump it down to make it top 15. And I said, but then it wouldn't be spicy enough. So
Yeah.
we like it spicy around here. And again, I think if you take something away from it, it's just to have a plan, right? Like we all get that the guy's got crazy upside. But what if what I just said is also a plausible outcome? Then you need to have a plan.
Okay. All right. I like it. I'm gonna go into my take here, and it's
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be as spicy as yours, but we're gonna talk about Bryce Hall, and I'm gonna have Bryce Hall finishing as the overall RB1 in 2023. Now, I
That's
know,
spicy.
I know. Listen, I know he got hurt in week 7. I know it was an ACL injury. This guy's young. He's 22 years old. ACL injuries aren't a death sentence anymore to running backs. These guys are going to come back, especially if they got hurt young. They usually come back just as good as new. And this guy was explosive. He was averaging 5.8 yards a carry. The one of the biggest surprises as well for him is he was really good at catching the ball. He had 31 targets through 7 weeks of the season. So that was a pleasant surprise to me. I didn't think he was very good coming out of college catching the ball, and he showed otherwise. So that's something in PPR formats. That's something to keep an eye on. This is a guy that through 7 weeks, three of the games that he was in, he didn't have double-digit carries, and somehow he was still the RB6 and non-PPR. So I don't know how he really did this with such limited amount of volume, but he is going to be the main back in this offense. Michael Carter doesn't exist anymore. This is Bryce Hall's backfield. All right, I don't know where Carter is. He is buried on the depth charts. I don't know where he is. Okay, this is Bryce Hall's backfield. He is going to be the main guy. I expect him to have 20 carries a game. I expect him to have 3 to 4 catches a game. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that's going to check the ball down. So this is going to be fun to watch. And I really, truly believe in my heart, Bryce Hall has a chance to be the RB1 overall in 2023.
Jeez. That might be spicier than my take, but you gotta love some Brees Lightning, man. He really can fly with that football in his hands, and I do think that's going to be a very good offense. And to your point, look at how prolific Aaron Jones was with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. I think if he gets out there week one and is even playing 50% of the snaps, then your hot take becomes a lot less hot. But right now, I don't think anybody would predict that, but I do like it.
He's going to be an RB1. I don't know if he's going to be the RB overall one. Shall see. It's going to be a fun year. What do you got next for us?
Boy, I love that take. Don't sleep on Bryce Hall, he said. My next hot take, and this one's pretty spicy too. Jake Ferguson. You ever heard of him? My take for my next hot take is that Jake Ferguson will finish as a tight end 1 this season. And if you've never heard of Jake Ferguson, well, then I guess it's time to start, right? He was the backup tight end for Dallas last year and played very well in limited snaps. He was clearly, when you look at the eye test, he's clearly the best pass catching, most athletic tight end they have on their roster. And there's already early reports coming out saying he's the guy. So he's definitely worth a dart throw when you look at the fact that Dak has shown he can elevate, people who don't blow you away on film like Dalton Schultz. Dak loves his tight ends. They've talked about running a bit more in this offense, and it's going to be a different scheme with Kellen Moore leaving. But you can certainly expect that tight ends will be on the field and Dak will have a favorite. I see him as the guy, and I think he'll put up a second year that blows people away. It's not uncommon for tight ends to not do much in their first year and then really come onto the scene. And again, when you look at how he shows on film, there's one particular hurdle highlight that he has against the Giants where he just has an amazing, it's not a great thrown ball by Dak, but he makes a great hands extension, catches the ball, starts running, jumps over the defender, lands, keeps running, lowers his shoulder into the next defender. I mean, that is a 10 out of 10 highlight film in terms of demonstrating what's possible with him. And you've got to believe that if he balls into that starting role, he's got the athletic ability and he's in the right offense to potentially be a tight end 1.
Hey, listen,
Crazy.
somebody's got to step up in this tight end room. Schultz ain't here anymore, so I know you like him to pop out and be that guy. There's a couple young guys in there. Who knows? We really don't know who it's going to be at him. I don't think Hendershot really truly has any type of shot at a tight end 1 role. So I mean,
No Hendershot.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And Schoonmaker, I mean, just to debunk this one, like, I will gladly die on this hill, watch the film, screams Jag to me, just a guy. He's a blocker. He's going to play a role for them, but it's not going to be running routes on passing plays.
Well, that makes me sad. I just drafted him this year in the 3rd.
Hey, You never know. Maybe he turns into something next year. And I feel like tight ends oftentimes have like insulated value as rookies. And if they don't, you should be telling your league mates they do, because this is a fact. Like I said, they usually don't really produce in year one. So when you drafted him, you should have drafted him knowing that. And when everyone's value should be according. Hey, if this guy doesn't go crazy in year one, he's still worth what he was worth. So
Right.
I don't hate the pick, but I'm not sure that. Yeah, personally, I didn't love his film. Didn't jump off the eyes to me. But we've seen blocking tight ends carve out a role in the league and be productive, and he's on a good offense. But I do think year one you want to temper those expectations.
This one's got to be the spiciest take you have right now. I think this one, when we were talking about it before, if this comes to true, you are a genie. I mean, I would love to see this happen. I would love to see the fantasy community say like, oh, Johnny predicted this. So
Yeah,
it's gonna
I
be
mean,
fun.
my analysis is one stupid highlight, but pretty detailed analysis of it.
Okay, all right. So this one, I got one for Kyler Murray will finish with more fantasy points than Jordan Love. Now, I'm just going to come out and say it. This is not a anti Jordan Love take. All right, this is more of how much I truly believe in Kyler Murray here. Now, if you're not following football right now, it's the end of June, and Kyler Murray is projected to miss at least right now. I believe the projections are 6 to 8 games. I think he might miss just a tiny bit less, maybe 4, 5. If he comes back in that type of time window, I truly believe Kyler Murray can catch Jordan Love by the end of the season. Now, I don't have to tell you, Kyler Murray is almost a fantasy cheat code. This is a guy right now. Kyler Murray is actually fourth all time in fantasy points per game at the quarterback position. He's averaging 21 fantasy points per game for his career. So this is a guy, when he's on the field, he's putting up numbers. And if he's putting up numbers, and Jordan Loves is having just whatever season, Green Bay's going to be running the ball with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, and I don't know how much we're going to see. I really don't think Jordan Love has a 30 touchdown season in him, at least his first year in the league. Well, it's not his first year in the league, but his first starting job. So I don't think that's in the realm of possibilities for Jordan Love. I think Kyler Murray comes out, goes crazy, catches Jordan Love at the end of the year in fantasy points, and I don't know how hot this is. I really think this could actually happen if we could see Kyler Murray come back just a tiny bit early, maybe 6 games, 6 to 8. If he misses 8 games, I don't. It'd be immaculate if he caught him. If he misses 4 or 5, I really think it's in the realms of possibilities here. So that's my hot take here.
So, would love to pick your brain on Kyler a bit because he's
Sure.
someone I think is potentially a buy.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
you look at, if you're a team that can afford it, if you're in a major rebuild, there's certain scenarios where he makes really good sense to add to your roster. Do you think do you think now is the best time to buy him? Do you think maybe he dips a little more as people get closer to the season, they get even more tired of holding him and knowing he's not going to play those first couple weeks? Or do you think now is the time?
I think I don't think he's going to get any cheaper than now. Listen, I think people's concerns are that the Arizona Cardinals are probably the worst roster in the league. That they could possibly have the number one pick. They could possibly have Caleb Williams next year. And you know what?
Yeah, they
That
might
could
not play
happen.
him.
That could happen. Caleb Williams could, but I really think the Cardinals are all in on Kyler. And even if they had the number one pick, they would do what the Bears did and trade it away. I really don't see a scenario where Kyler's on another team. And let's be honest, even if he was, he's going to be a backup. No, wherever he goes, he's going to be starting. And this guy's putting up points. And he's putting up fantasy points. He's got 21 fantasy points per game for his career. This is a guy that's an easy buy. He's as cheap as he's ever going to be. And this is a guy I'm trying to buy everywhere. Obviously, some managers in my leagues aren't giving him up. That's okay. I'm going to keep sending those trade offers. Eventually, someone's going to crack. But yeah, he's definitely. I don't think he's going to get any cheaper than this.
I guess my only counter would be to your point, those thinkers who think, well, what if they know they're gonna suck and he ends up sitting out the whole season, and by week 3 there's some report like that comes out, maybe you could say that there's a potential for him to dip a little bit lower. But I think to your point, 95% almost every other outcome is that you either buy now or you're going to miss the boat on potentially, either that or the 1 in a million chance that he goes back to playing baseball. I had to start getting smart on that when I was looking into buying him, because
Yeah,
I was like, is this guy, I mean, he's a first round pick. Would he ever go back? And then I realized they weren't paying him nearly the same amount of money. And so the answer is no.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. How about you? What do you got for me?
Okay, so my final spicy take, uh, and again, this one might not seem the spiciest, but it's definitely spicy when you look at where he's being priced, and that's Geno finishing top 5 again. I think he's first off, he's not being priced anywhere near this outcome. He's QB 15 on underdog, currently behind guys like Kirk Cousins, Danny Dimes, who you have just talked about being, having potentially an outlier season with his legs. And I think when you look at what Geno did, it wasn't a fluke. He was the best deep ball thrower in 2022 per next gen stats. He was throwing with touch, he was throwing with velocity on a rope. And there was tons of great tape to watch with very elite throws. Very impressed by the strides he's made. And I think people are still in just absolute disbelief that this is something that could be a thing for the next few years. And when you look at it, he's upgraded the weapons. He's got a better receiving back with Zach Charbonnet. You've got JSN, who is one of my favorite prospects to come out over the past couple of years. They play good football. I think it'll be a prolific offense that is scoring points, and he's going to be at the helm of it. And you and I talked about this, John. Like, I also think he's just a good guy to root for in terms of how he handled the whole situation. How he said being a backup. Someone asked if that must have sucked, and he said even on my worst day was probably someone's dream. Like, the guy's got a good head on his shoulders. He's humble. He understands the opportunity he's been given, and he's taken advantage of it. And I really like him. I think he's going to have another great season. And I think could finish as a top 5 quarterback. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
And most of all, the Seahawks did not take a quarterback in this draft. So it kind of shows
They
some,
paid him.
yeah,
They paid
and
him big
there's some
money.
sort of
Yeah.
commitment to Geno that they truly believe in what he's bringing to the table. Top 5, definitely spicy. I have him regressing a little bit, obviously. When you look at how he played last year, it was like, where has this been? Some of the throws he was making, it was incredible. It was fun to watch, and like you said, it's you got to root for the guy. You always want to root for the underdog, and Geno showed something last year that I don't think anyone in the fantasy community could have projected. So if he could do it again, I mean, that would be something. So I like that, and it's going to be a fun one to watch, obviously, because Geno's a good guy.
Yeah, hot takes that you want to come true, right?
Yeah, exactly. I
What
got
about you?
one.
Bring it home.
I got one more for you, and this is like a homer take because I'm a big J.K. Dobbins believer here. So yeah, I got J.K. Dobbins finishing ahead of Derrick Henry this season, and yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that Henry's best days are going to be behind him. He's 29. When the season's over, it's going to be a long. He's going to be 30 at the end of this year. I don't think he's going to be a Titan next year. I really, truly believe we're going to see him become human. And on the flip side of that, I got JK. He's explosive. He's fun to watch. If we combine 2020,
Yeah.
his rookie year, and 2022, what he did last year, this guy had 226 attempts, almost 1,500 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And I kind of said to myself, you know what? Let's take those numbers and let's plop it into what the running backs did last year. And when we compare the numbers, JK would have finished as the 4th running back in rushing yards, and with 100 less attempts than the guys in front of him, Jacobs and Henry. So He's uber efficient with the ball. I mean, I think the biggest question mark here is, can he stay healthy? And I think what we're really not recognizing here is the 2021 injury he had in preseason where he messed up his knee. It's spilled over into 2022. This isn't the guy that got hurt in 2021 and then he got another injury in 2022. This is the same injury that just kind of spilled over into 2022. So we're 2 years off that. And we've already seen flashes of him being amazing and explosive. And this offense should be explosive, if not more, this year. So with Henry going the opposite way, I got J.K. Dobbins going way up. I think he's going to cross pass. I think J.K. is going to jump right over him this year.
Yeah, when you're like talking about your take, I'm thinking of just if you watch that game where they had Snoop Huntley against the Bengals in the playoffs, like that, he wasn't out there for over 80% of the snaps or anything, but that entire offense ran through J.K. Dobbins that game, and it was why they were in it, and he just looked like he was fully back, and he wanted the ball, and he was mad when they lost. He said they should have given me the ball more, and
Yep.
so I think that's like, yeah, I'm excited to see that guy come into next year. I think people still have a bit of a perception of what he was going back from that injury. And honestly, like the first couple of weeks back, you could tell he wasn't running 100%. And I think he had something mid-season to clean up it a little bit.
Right.
And apparently it's all better now. And like I said, by the time you saw him coming back around for that playoffs, he looked fantastic in that game. So I really look forward to see what he does next year. And
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think you're lagging right now, but that's okay. I'm going to take it
it would
home.
be crazy if that offense is running through him. That he Can
You
hear me?
there? Yeah, we just caught a little bit of lag, but that's okay.
Okay, we're back, boys.
We're back. No problem. But listen, I mean, like, JK, listen, if you're watching this video and you're worried about the holdout, don't worry. It's going to work out, okay? Don't worry about it. I think we're going to find a middle ground. I really don't know what he's doing. I don't know what kind of money he's looking for, but it's going to work itself out. He's going to be on the field for the Baltimore Ravens in 2023, okay? So don't worry about that.
So silly.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. But guys, listen, if you're watching this video, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe to our channel. We're a growing community here. Me and Jonny are going to put in some work for you. We're here all off season. We're going to be here during the season. So anything you want to close on, Jonny?
Leave trade questions in the comments. Leave your teams if you want them graded. Any advice you want. We will be making an episode to address the comments that we get over the next couple of weeks. So you can almost guarantee it. If you leave some feedback or a comment, we will address it.
All right, sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right? If you want more fantasy content like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me, and we will see you in the next video.